gonna stop it.
That's going to be it, and it's over. It's all over.
He looked like a rabbit just sprinting out of a hole.
Oh, no, he's ready.
Goodness, Tyrone Davis.
Yes,
Oh, mercy.
Don't know if he's getting up.
Harrison with a left and then another left. Going for a right. Soto goes down. A vicious right, and that might be the night. Oh, he's going to have a hard time getting up. That's it. It's over. Oh, it's over.
Journeyman Boxing.
Daniel Twitch Franco, kind enough to join us for a couple moments. How you been, Daniel?
I've been real good. Just been focused on this fight that is in front of me.
And that fight, of course, tomorrow night on the Ward undercard at the Oracle. That'll be, I believe, your third consecutive time you'll take on Marcelo Gallardo in an 8-round featherweight bout. I know it's not going to be part of the TV broadcast, but how about the visibility, right? How about the visibility of being on the undercard, though, with Andre Ward? And I know you go to a ton of the fights. You're always there absorbing a lot of stuff. But how about that visibility for you tomorrow night?
Oh, man, that's everything for me right now. Right now, just being on these bigger cards, getting the exposure, it's gonna be great just to be seen.
You know, I look at 126, and then I look at you, and I'm like, hey, he's 5'9". He's pretty tall, 126. To me, that's a good advantage to have going forward. I mean, look, you can't teach height, but that's certainly something that you got to use to your advantage. When you look at your opponent, I mean, to me, how do you utilize your height against your opponents? Or is it you kind of just play every matchup differently? Because, again, you look at your opponent tomorrow, he's probably going to try to come and push you around a little bit. He's tough, and he's probably going to wait and make it an ugly fight. So talk a little bit about how you can use your height to your advantage without giving a game plan away, and talk about how you have to have patience in the ring, especially against a fighter that wants to make it an ugly fight.
Okay, well, first of all, today at the weigh-ins, one of the first things people in the crowd were saying to me was like, wow, man, there's such a big difference in height between you two. I'm 5'9", I believe he's 5'4".
Wow.
And, you know, it really, really shows. And every single fight, no matter who you're fighting, if they're tall, if they're short, you always want to kind of match up with what they're best at.
Right.
And what their weaknesses are. So for me, going into this fight, I'm good at keeping him on the outside. I know that he really likes to be, you know, just make it an ugly fight. He wants to be really, really aggressive, just compared to his last fights and everything that I've seen about him. So I know that seeing me, you know, face to face, I'm sure that was the first thing that he was thinking of. And for me, it's going to be, it's just me putting it all together, everything that we've worked on in this training camp, which is pretty much how I work every single training camp, is, you know, make sure that I'm using my best advantages, which is my physical attributes, my height, my length, and it's gonna all come together pretty well Saturday night.
Do you look at what's transpired the last year or so for you and how you're starting to become more of a household name, really, for the hardcore boxing fans, especially at 126, and the fact that you're getting this exposure? I mean, do you go into these fights, and I'm not saying you take the opponent for granted and you're looking past the opponent, but do you put more added pressure on yourself where you want to shine, or do you just focus on the task at hand, and if I'm going to get rounds in, I'm going to get rounds in. If it ends quickly, it ends quickly?
Well, every fight there's pressure to shine. You know, you want to make sure that you look your best. You want to make sure that you're improving every single fight. And with this fight is no different than any other. I'm not taking my opponent lightly. I know that he's a tough guy. I've never taken anybody lightly, because anybody who has the balls, you know, to step in the ring is a pretty good individual who's very strong emotionally.
Is there anything you work? Did you do anything differently this camp to prepare for this fight?
I always do everything differently each camp. I want to progress every single fight. I learned from my last fight. I learned how I cut weight, what do I eat after the weigh-ins, where I go running, who I'm sparring with, where, you know, pretty much even like a mental state. I get more meditation. I'm getting into I'm getting into a lot of different things I would never thought I would think about back when I first turned pro, or even 2 years ago.
What? Give me one or two. What are you doing differently as far as regimen? I mean, what are you doing? More meditation, more breathing, more visualizing? I mean, running a different route while you're doing road work.
Yeah.
That's not. I'm not. That's not. Look, I'm not gravitating towards that. Give me something a little deep. What have you been doing a little different where it's putting yourself in a better spot?
Well, I have taken advantage of, whatever has been around us. I recently started doing cryotherapy, which is, the cold chamber that I think Mayweather made it real famous.
Right.
I've been doing that. I also did a sensory deprivation tank, which will just helps you focus mentally on whatever task is at hand. It helps you kind of pick apart what you're doing wrong, what you're doing good at, and I think Joe Rogan is really, really big on that, just for, I think, focusing on things about life. But I think it really transcends into the sport of boxing. It's a chess match.
Sure.
You're in the boxing ring, so you have to be able to use your mind intelligently. And I think getting my meditation through that sensory deprivation tank has helped me a lot.
When you look at 126, you look at the weight class right now, and I know we got a couple minutes before I let you get out of here. Go past tomorrow. What's on the agenda? What are you looking at? What do you,
right
as far
now,
as what you want to do?
That's all I'm looking at right now is the fight. Get past this fight, make sure I do what I'm supposed to do against this guy, and then I'll worry about the next fight. But this next year, I want to stay busy. I want to make sure that I'm fighting, every month or two, staying as busy as I can to make sure that my name is getting out there more. So that way, it does become a household name, even with the people who aren't hardcore boxing fans, the people who are just casual fans, watching PBC shows, stuff like that. So it's just mainly to stay busy and then eventually get a title shot closer to the end of next year.
Is there anyone on your radar? Anyone that you have kind of you're putting out there?
Well, I'm sure you saw the Santa Cruz and Frampton fight, correct?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, everybody saw that. Santa Cruz, I've been eyeing him for a while. I was thinking, he's a really good champion to eventually challenge and take out, but it sucks that he doesn't have the belt anymore.
Well, you can thank Frampton for that, who just basically connected on every counter left.
Yeah. Well, if Frampton has it, well, I guess I'll have to go after him next. I know he's a really tough guy, and if Frampton and Santa Cruz, if they do get that rematch, and if Santa Cruz gets that belt back, I do want Santa Cruz.
All right, listen. Before I let you get out of here. So, give me where did you see? The way I looked at it, I just thought, at the end of the day, especially late in the fight, even though when Santa Cruz showed a lot of heart and he started to engage a little bit, I'm not saying he got exposed, but it seemed as though that Frampton was able to walk him down a little bit, catch him too coming in, and you saw those counter lefts and those left hooks. So give me where is Santa Cruz vulnerable? Where do you think he can be exposed?
I've seen that he wasn't able to use his attributes to his best advantage. His height, his length, he wasn't able to use that. He was really square. He wasn't using his jab as much as he should have. And I think Santa Cruz was expecting, well, he said that he wasn't expecting an easy fight, but to me, that's what it looks like.
So you're hoping that if there is a rematch and he gets that belt, by that time you have an opportunity to take him. I should say, to face him.
Exactly.
All right, listen, I appreciate it. It's always good to catch up. It's always been enjoyable to follow the career, and I know I just have this feeling in the next several fights, I think you're poised, if not to close out the year, but it just seems like, especially at that weight class, the way you're moving up, especially at 126. You know, a couple more notable fights and a couple good showings I can certainly see as a headliner, and then certainly see down the road for a title shot. So it's always good to catch up. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, best of luck tomorrow night, and we'll certainly get you back on.
All right, thank you, Rich.
All right, you got it. No problem. Daniel Franco joining us for a couple moments. Always a good interview.